Hey everybody and welcome to the bullshit party. And with that explosive intro out of the way, you know what time it is. It's time to review the new Podium vehicle, the XA-21. And one poorly done transition later, we can see how the car looks in the sunlight. In this video we're going to be looking at the exterior, the interior, and of course the performance of the vehicle. And just for reference, this is a car that usually costs $2.4 million in the Legendary Motorsports website. That said, looking at the car, I can definitely see that this is an expensive looking vehicle. And as we're taking a 360-degree tour around it, for those of you who want to know more about it, the XA-21 was released in 2017 during the gun running update. And the car itself is based on the Jaguar CX-75. And as pretty usual, let's see how interactive the car is, basically what can we open on it. And I'm very happy to say that you're able to open both doors, the hood and the trunk of this one. And taking a stroll to the back side of the car, we take a look at the giant engine powering it. Loose cables aside, I think that the back of the car looks very nice and very clean. And it's difficult for me to say what type of engine this is, but it's most likely gonna be a V8. And the other thing that stands out at me in the car's show mode are the doors. Just beautiful design in my opinion. And with the exterior done, it's time to sit in the driver's seat, listen to the exhaust note, and see what the inside looks like. The exhaust in my opinion sounds great, and the inside of the car fits the exterior. And after a quick light check, it's time to head out to Los Santos Customs and see what we can customize on this. And since this is my first time driving this vehicle, I'm gonna give you my impressions of what that's like before and after we customize it. But first, a scientific test. Let's see if we're dealing with a front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, or an all-wheel drive vehicle. And there you have it folks, you heard it here first, the XA-21, an almost 3-year-old vehicle, is all-wheel drive. Next up, Los Santos Customs. And the first thing that I noticed about the car is something that I'm sure you noticed about it as well. That's right, it'd be orange. No, not that Timmy, it's actually the hydraulic spoiler it has on the back. This is so refreshing to see, seeing how the other car that I can remember that has this technology in it is the T20, and it's one of my favorite vehicles in the game. But back to this one, since we're dealing with an all-wheel drive vehicle here, it feels very stable. The brakes are fine and the grip is sort of okay. Keep in mind that going to Los Santos Customs, I'm doing my best to make the car slip in some way. And so far the XA-21 is performing like a champ. And a reminder, this is the stock version of the vehicle. I can't wait to see how this is gonna look and perform when it's fully customized. And speaking of, we've reached our destination, so it's time to get in Los Santos Customs and customize this.
Here for the magic touch.
And if you guys seen my videos before, you know that the first thing that I like to do when I enter Los Santos Customs is of course first repair the vehicle and then go over all the performance options and max them out. This way I don't forget anything, and I get a little bit confused here because I wasn't expecting more engine options than the typical upgrade the engine. But that also excited me because it means that we have extra customization options that not a lot of vehicles have. And going through the performance upgrades, I'm noticing that we don't have a spoiler option. Which is perfectly fine with me, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, I just wanted to mention it since, well, this is a video. And as far as the customization options on the front and the rear bumpers is concerned, I'm very happy with what we have here. I want to remind everybody once again that this is a car that was released in 2017. Back then, vehicles didn't really have a lot of customization options. And speaking of customization options, this is just glorious what we have here. And I believe that this is something that Rockstar need to make absolutely mandatory for every car that has a see-through engine cover. Let's see, a V8 or a V12? And being able to customize the engine cover itself is just absolutely the icing on the cake. And this right here, in my opinion, totally makes up for the lack of other customizations that you can do on the back of this vehicle. And speaking of customizable things, well, not really, but I want to crowbar it in. I know that you're not subscribed to this channel, but you should be. You want to know how I know this? Well, this is how. Over 85% of the people watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. But hey, I'm not gonna tell you to subscribe. I'm just gonna say, read your text messages. Hint, hint. I trust you're gonna make the right decision. But back to the car. If you paid attention to the actual video as opposed to me talking about whatever, you probably noticed that the customization for this car is very respectable and very comparable to the plethora of customization options you can expect from a car released in 2020. And something that very few vehicles have is the engine customization options, which is just the, as I said, icing on the cake. And as we're customizing this car, I can't help but shake the feeling that the P1 had something to do with the inspiration behind it. Especially from the rear, the car very much reminds me of the McLaren. And both the McLaren and the Jaguar this car is based on are hypercars. And I'm sure you've all noticed the hypercar theme I went for this build. One weird customization options that we didn't have are liveries. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, I just wanted to point it out. And next up for customization we have the skirts on the side of the car. And something that I need to mention here is that unlike the spoilers that you can change on pretty much any other car that impact the traction bar on this car is not impacted on any visual customizations. And that extends to the stupid roof horn things. And we are at probably the most controversial customization options, the wheels. But bullshit, why are they so controversial? This is why. I really don't understand Rockstar's fascination of giving us cool stock rims that we can't modify. And the best thing about the stock rims is that you can't find them anywhere in the store. And this is not something that portrays only to this vehicle. This has happened to numerous vehicles in the past. It just baffles my mind what the thinking in the Rockstar headquarters was about this, but I really don't understand it. And even though I think the stock rims look better, I wanted to have a custom tire design on this car and there was really nothing else I could do about it. But it is what it is, and it's time to move on to actually respraying the car. And this week, as I do with every other Podium vehicle, I posted a poll a couple of days ago asking you guys to choose what color I should do the car in. And just as a joke, one of the options that you could choose was not a color, and I made sure to specify that in that option. So if you haven't participated in the poll, do you want to take a guess as to which option won? That's right, this week we're gonna have a sandwich car. Pause. But sadly, since sandwiches are not a color, at least as far as I know, we're gonna do something different for this week. We're gonna have dealer's choice. So yours truly went on Google, typed in random color generator, and I opened the first thing that came up. So this is the color that we're gonna have for the Podium vehicle this week. So let's just keep it in the corner and resume. So I'm gonna try to come as close as possible to this color right here. And I think the olive green is gonna do it. And even though I was a little bit skeptical when I first drew the color, I gotta say the XA-21 wears it perfectly. As for the secondary color, I want it to be something that would contrast the green. And what better color to contrast the green than dull red? And since we're pretty much done with customizing the car, let's just skip to the outside and see what this car looks like in the sunlight. I know that I might be a little bit biased here, but I think it looks absolutely amazing, especially with what I had to work with. What? What's that? You don't like the color? Well, maybe next time don't choose the sandwich option! And as we take off, the spoiler immediately comes up and I'm reminded of what we're gonna be talking about. And before I talk about the performance difference, I just want you to hear the gurgle the car has after we customized it. It's almost like somebody's popping popcorn when you lay off the gas. It's awesome. And this is a car that actually sounded pretty good before we went into Los Santos Customs, but now... Popcorn, anyone? As for the difference in performance, the car feels fast, tight, responsive, and most important of all, fun. I've disclosed many times that I don't really race the cars that I have, so this car for me is a no-brainer. It's an absolute gem to have. And if you're somebody who races cars, this isn't the most competitive car, but it's definitely no slouch. I think regardless of the application you have for this car, you're gonna be very happy with what you're getting here. Especially if you're watching this video in the week it was released, because this means that this is this week's Podium car. Can somebody say this one more time? In conclusion, the exterior is amazing, the interior looks nice, and it's customizable so you can change the color. The spoiler is an absolute gem to have on the car. And the performance we get in this package is very nice. And I can't believe it, this has to be the first video that I haven't gotten into a major accident in. And with that, I guess the streak still lives, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the content and just want to support the channel, please don't forget to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel and you like the content, please don't forget to subscribe. And with all that said and done, I'll catch y'all in the next one. I wonder if this one can go off-roading.